Ricki, so tell us about this campaign about mountaintop coal removal and the arrests.
So our group is called Hands Off Appalachia, and we're an urban-based campaign in support of folks working in the coal fields of Appalachia. We target the financing of mountaintop removal coal mining by one of the top funders, UBS, which is a Swiss-owned wealth management company. So we've been working for 2 years to try to get the bank to stop funding mountaintop removal, and we've...
Let me go back a step. Where are you from?
I have been living in Knoxville, Tennessee for the past few years, and that's where we started the campaign.
And before that?
From North Carolina, in central North Carolina. And so we've focused on mobilizing cities in the South against mountaintop removal and against the funding of mountaintop removal. And then we recently, so in November, we had a big action camp in Connecticut, which is the home, the headquarters of the North American headquarters of UBS. So we had an action camp, like 30 to 35 activists came together from the Northeast and from Appalachia to work together, and then pulled off the actions that we did.
All right, before we get to the actions, have you seen the results of mountaintop removal yourself?
Yeah. I've been involved in the struggle against mountaintop removal for the past 3 years. I've been working pretty full time to end mountaintop removal. And so I've spent a lot of time in West Virginia. I've just recently moved to Raleigh County, West Virginia, which is pretty surrounded by mountaintop removal sites.
What does it look like?
It's a devastated area. It's just really, there's no trees, no life. Just completely compacted earth.
You just blow up the top and then harvest?
Yeah, so they clear cut areas and then drill holes and put explosives in them and then blow off the tops of the mountains, take everything that isn't coal, which they term overburden, and dump it into the surrounding valleys, which is really what buries the streams. And then to expose the seams of coal, then they take the coal and then dig it out, and then in the process have buried over 2,000 miles of streams.
It's legal in West Virginia to do that?
It is legal to do, and that's something that we've been fighting since the 70s, and really there's a century-long history of resistance in Appalachia to the coal industry and to the oppressive nature of the coal industry.
You have to say there's a party going on downstairs. Yeah. I hope we can hear some of this.
I hope so too.
So you got arrested in November for what?
So we went to the North American headquarters of UBS, which is in Stamford, Connecticut. That's where they make all of their funding decisions about extractive industry. So on a couple of days before, we actually had a meeting with UBS. 3 people from our campaign met with UBS officials, which was in itself a victory for the campaign. We've been trying to achieve that meeting since we started back in 2012. So we had a meeting with them, and they kept pointing to their inadequate policy about mountaintop removal that they've made public in 2011 and still have continued to fund mountaintop removal. And so the meeting, they just kept pointing to their inadequate policy, and they wouldn't make any concessions, wouldn't hear, just didn't understand really what their actual practices were doing in Appalachia. So we were at they host the UBS Parade Spectacular in Stamford every year for a Thanksgiving Day parade, and we were there and were able to interact with thousands of people. We hand-built and had puppets, and it was just a big day of outreach for the campaign. And then the next day, there were 2 people who dropped a banner from a construction crane across the way from UBS.
How did they get to the top of a crane?
They climbed it with a big banner. It was a huge banner, and it was right in the viewpoint of UBS, and it said, "UBS stop funding mountaintop removal." And then I and my friend Dee walked into the office and dropped a banner from the top of the steps, and there's a whole glass building. And we dropped a banner and then locked our necks to the railing of the stairs.
And there were arrests, I understand?
Yeah, and then so we were arrested, the people in the crane were arrested, and there was also people who locked themselves to the outside of the building. So in total, 14 people were arrested during that day of action.
And you've been to court twice, and what's been the result of that?
Yeah, they just continue kicking the ball down the line. We have our pre-trial hearing March 20th, which we're going to invite a lot of people to come to and support that day and really bring the attention back to Mountaintop Removal and back to UBS that continues to fund it. And yeah, we have. It just seems like it's going to be a long process to go through this court proceedings. They want to make us pay a large restitution amount, but we don't have that much funding at all, and we really want to use our funding to to work on projects that.
The people in West Virginia who are affected in these valleys support you, know about what you're doing?
Yeah, people have been really excited. The resistance movement has been really excited to see this urban base of support, and especially coming from Tennessee, out of Tennessee, which there's so much organizing work happening in all areas of in Appalachia, and it was just really exciting for them to see this work. And a lot of people there was a big contingency of folks who have been working against mountaintop removal come up to the camp with us and who have been living in Appalachia and came up with us. And yeah, it's definitely a really polarizing issue in West Virginia because of the mono economy of coal there. But there is a lot of community support, and people are really excited to see us targeting the people who are profiting, like the UBS that is just really taking all of the profit in the coal companies.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.